What up, cuckolds? It's your boy, the Hater, and I want to start today's video by making 2 quick points. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed to the Hater, what are you waiting for? Be here for the unprecedented growth that this channel is and will continue to experience. As you can see, my evergreen channel, not one dime spent on anything, is growing like it's supposed to. No friends or family subscribe to my channel, and that's why my videos now are getting like 2,500, 3,000 views, very commensurate with my subscriber base. I'm not one of these channels that has like 50,000 subscribers and gets like 2,000 views. No. Everything is authentic here. The other thing that I want to say real quick is there's a YouTuber called The Word Lifer, traditional spelling and all, right? This guy is awesome because he did a video called 25 Reasons Why the Hater is Awesome, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, right? So I'm going to link that video in the description or in a pinned comment, or both, cucks. So please go, and you don't even have to watch that video. You should, of course, but please go and subscribe to this guy. He's awesome, and a lot of the points that he made are great points. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is a video about how great you are, so of course you like it. And that's true. However, he fundamentally understood what the Hater is all about, right? A lot of people don't, so please go subscribe to this guy. I hope that he continues to grow. I like him. Now, today's video is going to be about the abysmal ratings of AEW. As I hear, AEW drew approximately 747,000 viewers, right? This is 7% down from last week, which was about 800,000, right? So AEW, I think this represents a record low from them. Now, what's interesting about this is not the fact that they got horrible viewership, because that's to be expected. The show's boring, right? But the truth is that even though they've invested countless, probably millions of dollars on people like Okada, Will Ospreay, and the CEO of bullshit, Mercedes Moné, right? They've paid all this money to these people only for them to have absolutely no impact on the viewership. This, once and for all, proves what I've been saying. The subset of AEW fans that care about Will Ospreay, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, or really anybody else, are fans that already are going to be tuning in. There are people out there that are legitimate draws. For example, if AEW could somehow pull John Cena, let's say, right? If they could pull The Rock, Stone Cold, right? Brock Lesnar, people that are actual draws, their viewership would spike, right? That's because the people that I just mentioned are actually draws. Goldberg is another one. But when you hire someone like Will Ospreay, who is not going to attract any new eyeballs, everyone that's a Will Ospreay fan is going to be a fan of AEW already. They're already your built-in audience. Same thing with Mercedes Moné. Nobody cares about Sasha Banks. The few thousand people that do already watch AEW. That's why these people have not made a dent to the ratings. The overall show is not good enough. And as far as I'm concerned, this also proves that people like Edge are not the draws that people may think they are, right? There's very few draws in wrestling, right? I mean, to be fair, Edge is like past his prime, and he's past the moment where he's going to be a draw. These are just people that are going to Tony Khan and just getting paid to be there, right? They're getting paid probably extravagant amounts of money. One report says that Sasha Banks is now the highest paid female wrestler in the world. I'm pretty sure Becky Lynch makes like $1 million a year. So Sasha's making at least $1 million, one would think, right? Same thing with Okada and Will Ospreay. These are people that have never drawn a dime. Now, Tony Khan is not smart. I mean, I'm sure he's an intelligent man in many other aspects, but in the context of wrestling, he just doesn't understand what is and is not a draw. And he's not alone. A lot of people don't understand this. There are people in AEW that have the potential to be far bigger draws than Okada from TNA or Will Ospreay or Sasha Banks, right? You have there people like Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow, hell, even Darby Allin, right? But instead of featuring these people prominently, you don't. You focus your time and your effort on people like Okado and Will Ospreay. Nobody cares. This is not going to draw any money, as evidenced by the downfall in ratings. They are now at their worst. You know, the haters started at the same time as AEW. And obviously, I'm not saying that I'm bigger than AEW. But don't be surprised one day if AEW goes out of business having lost millions of dollars while your boy is out here making some spare change, cucks. You see what I'm saying? You have to know what you're doing. When you're spending all this money like Tony Khan is and hiring people that are not going to move the needle, they're not going to get any new eyeballs there, right? You're just wasting your time. You're just wasting your money. And the facts are what they are. And the facts say that AEW, once again, like I said a few weeks ago, is 1 foot in the grave. The ratings are abysmal. I'm not even saying that there should be... You can't expect a big jump in ratings from Mercedes Moné, who has never drawn a dime in her career, right? But, I mean, you at least don't expect people to tune away, right? It would seem that the people that they've hired are so bad that whatever they had in their stead before this time was a bigger draw. The other people were a bigger draw. It is very obvious how wrestling works. If you don't know who the wrestlers are, you might tune in. You're like, oh, there's something new happening, right? Like when AEW first started, a lot of people tuned in because they were like, oh, what's going to happen? It's a new wrestling company, right? They had like Santana and Ortiz debut. Jericho started the Inner Circle. You know what I mean? Things started falling into place. Now, with all this being said, what can we say about the current state? Well, two things. Number one, the ball has been dropped. And number two, the over-reliance on established stars to provide life support for this company is not working out. TNA made the same mistake, right? And TNA, we're signing people like, you know, Kurt Angle and Booker T and Scott Steiner and Nash and things like that. But when TNA first started, they hinged, they hung their hat, if you will, on a few established WWE guys. Jeff Jarrett primarily, Road Dogg, a few WCW guys like Conan and things like that. But more importantly, they understood that they need to have their own identity. They started the X Division and they pushed guys that no one had ever heard of, like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. And this continued on with people like Samoa Joe later down the line, right? Even though Samoa Joe was an ROH guy, that didn't matter. Primarily, he was and will always be a TNA guy, right? With all of this being said, with all of this into account, TNA started falling apart when there was an over-reliance on old WWE guys. And I'll tell you the moment where I knew it was over. There was that one period of time where there was that one Raw, right? That was competing with that one episode of Impact that moved to Monday nights. During that period, there was a match. It was Christopher Daniels, who's one of like the bulwarks, one of the cornerstones of this company. He should have gotten a massive push. And instead they had him job to Val Venus, right? Now, Val Venus, a personal favorite of the haters, but Val Venus is Val Venus, right? He's older and he's already had his moment. And last time we saw him in WWE, he was a jobber. They relegated him to a jobber, like losing to like Big Daddy V. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't doing anything in WWE. So now the optics are the jobber from WWE can come in and beat Christopher Daniels, who people were saying should get a push for the world title, right? The same thing is happening in AEW. Swerve Strickland, people like him, good for him, you know? But at the end of the day, he's a guy who in WWE was teaming with Top Dollar and losing to like everybody, right? He was losing to like Pretty Deadly. You see what I'm saying? So when the jobber becomes a star in the other company, it lowers the value of the other company. If I'm a casual fan and I tune into AEW and I see Sean Strickland like cutting a promo about how he's going to be the world heavyweight champion, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on now. This is where the inferior wrestlers go, so I'm going to just turn it off, right? it would be much more conducive to have the same thing happen. Sean Strickland talks about how he's going to be a champion, and then Powerhouse Hobbs comes and just annihilates him, like breaks his back, right? And you push Powerhouse Hobbs or Wardlow, two of the only guys you got in this piece of shit company that you can book as AEW originals. Them, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, MJF to an extent. These are the people that need to get pushed, but none of them have gotten pushed correctly. Not even MJF. Instead, I have to worry about what Mike Kanellis, who was a jobber on 205 Live. Like, you can't get lower on the card in WWE than Mike Kanellis. He was a jobber on 205 Live the 3 weeks that he wrestled in his, 3-year tenure with WWE, right? This guy is now part of, what's being presented as a main event faction, right? Led by Adam Cole, who wasn't good enough to be brought on to Raw or SmackDown. You understand what I'm saying? So, the optics are such that they keep introducing stars that were made elsewhere. And now you can have Okada beat Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan's stock is lower than it's always been. He's basically a mid-carder in AEW. So with that, and he was a mid-carder for a large part of his career in WWE as well, right? But, at the very least, you can try to make new stars. The AJ Styles of AEW has yet to emerge. The Samoa Joe, the Christopher Daniels, the fucking Amazing Red even of AEW has yet to emerge, and it's been 5 years. So, unless they do something drastic, the writing is on the wall. Some may say the writing's on the wall. Just like Jeff Hardy, cucks. You know what I'm saying? It's almost done. And these ratings really prove that. You can spend millions of dollars on things that don't work, or you can spend $100,000, give some indie jobber a chance, and push them. And push them seriously. Find someone like Alexander Hammerstone. Find another Wardlow, because Wardlow's pretty much done. He's just a lackey for life. Find someone, bring them on, and stop with these hot and cold pushes. Right? Like Hook. Hook, for example, has been in the same position for 3 years. He's just there. He just beats everybody. Then it's time for him to actually move up and wrestle on TV for once, and he gets destroyed. Right? That's not how this works. You need to push stars, and you need to push your company forward, Tony Khan.